Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another special edition of MPJ, Musical People and Journeys, the rock show. And we are joined tonight by the HotOneTwo, or should I say now, the HotOne234? Yeah, because I'm number 3, I'm number 4. Okay, and hot number 1. I can't make it. Trish? Who would you class between Nick and Joe? Let's make it. Who is hot 1 and who's hot 2?
No competition, darling. Obviously you.
Well, of course. Sorry, boys. Gonna have to change the name of your band. Sorry.
Head honcho of MPJ. They're both equally gorgeous.
That's a lie, Trish. Come on.
We all know it's him.
I like a beard.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
New name, hot 1.5. You're split. Yeah. Down the middle. There we go. We're good to trot. We're good to trot. Now, why? Why, you're asking yourselves, are we interviewing the HotOneTwo? Because they are on their own journey. And the journey that they're on is supporting our beloved Hearts and Hand Grenades. Please let their new album later on here be good. And Soul Switch on their UK tour, which is coming up in August. Is that right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
So is this your first UK tour?
Yeah, it is. It is. We've done a couple of really small dates, a couple of dates with an Australian band called
Wicked Smile,
who came over from Australia. But generally speaking, this is the longest string of dates that we've done back to back as a band in the UK, and it's a massive deal for us. We can't wait. We're thrilled to be on the tour. We're thrilled they've asked us, and honestly, I think there's a bit of trepidation, a bit of nervousness amongst us.
When you think 6 shows in 8 nights, I struggle to do 2 back to back. So I think I'm really looking forward to it, but also this could break us.
You'll be fine.
Well, we'll be there to pick up the pieces if you break in Bournemouth, so we'll be there. So how did this come about then? Well, I tell you what, before we jump in, this is what's called Musical People and Journeys. So we're at this pinnacle of point. So before we find out how it happened, how did it start? Where do you hail from? Where are you based?
So, good question. I'll answer on behalf of the whole band, I guess. So we're all based in Cambridgeshire. So myself, Nick, the bassist, aka Bibble, if you ever see his name knocking around on social media and you're like, why, who's Bibble? He wore a bobble hat in about 2017, so he got the nickname Bibble given to him. That might make sense. But he lives in Cambridge, he's down the road. I live in a little village called Fulbourn. Nana's here is based in Cambridge as well, and Simon, the singer, lives out towards Northampton way. He's just on the cusp of Cambridge here. And Kev lives around like Haverhill area. So we're pretty much our most central city is Cambridge itself. But it's just easier to say we are a Cambridge-based band. But generally.
And how long have you been together?
That's a good one. So we kind of formed the band in 2016. We didn't form it as the 5-piece that we are now. Myself, Joe, and Nick came about the HotOneTwo. We studied together. We studied music together at ACM in Guildford, and so we've all got music degrees, which is wild. And we jumped in a function band and started jumped on the function circuit and did weddings, parties, bar mitzvahs, everything for about 2 or 3 years. And then we got pretty sick of playing other people's songs. And Nick turned around one sunny afternoon and said, I've written some tracks, do you guys want to hear them? And it kind of started from there, really. So late 2016, we had about 3 tracks, and we entered into the Cambridge Band Competition and rushed around looking for a singer and a second guitarist.
Yeah, we actually booked our first gig before we had a full band lineup. We were like, okay, we've got a gig, we just need to complete the band now.
Yeah.
You've got to push yourself out. You've got to punch above your weight, and you've got to get yourself a comfort zone. If you set a goal and you go, well, we need a singer now, otherwise you might have just been drifting along, haven't you? So okay. So how would you then, for our listeners who haven't heard your music yet, how would you describe your jam, guys? How do you describe your music?
as such, we've been asked this so many times yet, but I don't think we've ever given the same answer.
No, that's a lie. I give the same answer all the time. I say balls to the wall, rock and roll. I think it's pretty heavy. I think it's riffy, and it's just a thumping bass line, bass drums. I say balls to the wall, rock and roll. I don't know if you want to dance around.
No, I don't want to dance around it. You can tell he's done more interviews than I have. There's a reason I'm a drummer, and they keep me away from these sorts of things.
So obviously that's the boring answer. Let's hear Joe's answer then. So what's your?
You know what? He has answered it nicely. I think when you say like, what is the actual genre? I don't think you. Yeah, if you were to pigeonhole it, it is balls to the wall rock. It is classic rock, but I think I say it's modern rock with classic influence, which you can clearly, I think it falls into that NWOCR scene that everyone's talking about right now. I think we fit into that quite nicely, but I think you can listen to each track individually that we're soon to be putting out, and you're like, okay, that's different enough in itself, but I'm getting little subtle nuances. There's a bit of Alter Bridge there, there's a bit of Foo Fighters there, that's an homage to a Guns N' Roses track, that's an homage to a bit of AC/DC live at Donington kind of like thing. There's little inflections here and there, so I think if that makes any sense.
No, absolutely does. I mean, I think before we went out, I just kind of described it as heavy metal rock and roll. You're not. It's more lead guitar than bass. You're full on full throttle. I liken you to. We're doing reviews on Kick Hunter and Buckcherry, and I kind of mentioned that and Kick Hunter, I was trying to work out how I described it. I'm going to go like, well, imagine Marty McFly, just did, his gig, in Back to the Future, and then carried on doing the rest of the gig. That would be Kick Hunter. But at the end of his song, he gets really heavy with his guitar, and I think that's when you come on, Kick Hunter, leave the stage. So I think you described it. I think I like that sound of balls to the wall kind of rock and roll. It's fast. It's not thrash metal. It's rock and roll, and it's and from what I've heard from the singers and the EP, it's bloody good. I mean, you are very, very, very talented bunch of. You're very talented. You've got potential. You've definitely got potential. And I'm not saying that because you've sat here and are part of the hot crew now. Number three. But it is really good. My only criticism, guys, is there's not enough of it. I mean, you just don't have enough. Where's the album? Where is it? Come on, you've got to be. You're going to embark on your first tour. Are you releasing an album in parallel to this? I'm expecting
absolutely.
Yeah,
I love that question because we absolutely are releasing music. In fact, we've just started releasing music from the album. A couple of months ago, we released our first single called "The Fray" from our debut album coming out in November, Superbia. And from now up until that release in November, we're releasing a further 5 singles. We've got accompanying music videos with everything, all up on Spotify, iTunes, all of that. And they're just going to be coming out because we're in a position where we want to wave our arms as big and as loud as we can. And I think if we're releasing, music every month, every 6 weeks, then, that's going to put us in good stead to then release that album to hopefully a few more people that have kind of caught an interview with us or followed the crew on Facebook or caught a single on YouTube. So there's new music coming out now every 6 weeks up until November, where we will be dropping our debut album, Superbia.
And do you know what night as well?
An exclusive live on MPG Radio. No,
you heard it here first.
I heard it first. No, The Fray is a fantastic track as well. That's really exciting. Oh my God. I hope it's good because we're obviously going to have that on our lineup then, which will be in December for our December show. But oh my God, right? That's super exciting. Look forward to that. Or maybe we'll just do now. Now you've had an interview, we might have to do a special album review like we've done for White Raven Dan, etc.
We'd love that.
We could just do that rather than Battle of the Bands. We'd just do a review, so that'd be amazing. Okay, so you're doing the album now. How did the connection with Midnight Tours? How did that come about, and how did this tour come about?
So, as Manners mentioned earlier on, we did a 2-day kind of like mini tour with Wicked Smile when they came over, and that was Midnight Tornado, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we kind of got on their radar then through doing these two shows. There was, I think, one was in Manchester, one was in Stoke.
Yeah.
Both wicked venues. I want to say it was Rebellion in Manchester we played.
Yeah.
And
11.
Yes, 11 in Stoke, which again, another awesome, like little kind of hidden gem that we had no idea about. Love to play there again. So they picked us up off the back of that.
Yeah. We've been working with Victoria from Torneo, and she kind of came to the Manchester show. We really got on with her fantastically well. And she kept us in mind for when us and Hand Grenades kind of were looking for some support acts to support their tour in August.
I think you fit the bill as well. I think if listening to what I've heard from Soul Switch, I think that your style of music fits in really nicely.
Yeah.
Really nicely with that. Now we're 15 or so minutes into the interview, and if I don't allow Hot Chick 4, okay, to ask some questions, she's gonna like type your chat. She WhatsApp me. Oi, my turn. She's going to go.
Lay him on us.
Trish, come on. Let's have some of your brilliant questions.
Okay. So, my first question is, how did you choose the name of your band?
Okay. Okay, can I take this one to start? We'll bounce off each other.
I came up with it.
Of course you did.
No fight.
No. He did not come up with it.
No, Joe. Let me finish. Sean. Let me interject here, because what he's saying is, mate, is that he's got the brains, but you've got the looks. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing here.
That's what you're hearing, but that's definitely not what he means.
Bit like Nigel.
I know what this guy's like. Right, so we, back in the day in our party years, we're still in our party years. We're trying to party, but we used to have something of a party house back in the day. We're talking like, this is probably the year prior to the HotOneTwo coming to be. And we used to dabble with a bit of beer pong every now and again. We'd start our day sessions off with a game of beer pong just to, preheat the liver, if you will. And we used to have a room specifically in our old house, it was a dining room, but it was strictly for beer pong, let's be honest. We never sat and had meals at that table. So I'm guessing you guys are familiar with beer pong, how it works.
Somewhere in my distant youth, I'll have you know.
Many years ago.
But yeah.
Now, Mans and I are hands down probably two of the best players in the band, without a doubt. Not musically, I mean at beer pong. So, and we're playing having a one-on-one, and it's getting pretty heated.
Yeah. It always gets pretty heated between us. It's
always to the wire, and I have 2 cups left. So again, for those that don't know that are listening, the goal is to obviously get your ball into
everyone knows how to play.
No, you say that. I've had to explain it before, but I have 2 cups left. On my side, Manners has 1. I've got to get 1. He's got to get 2, and then in quick succession, Manners gets both his throws in. He gets 1 in, he gets 2 in. But as he gets the first one in, he says, you got to hit him. And then he hits the second shot, and he says, hit him with a HotOneTwo. And I said, that would make a really good band name. I said that would make a good band name. Right? And he just goes, yeah, no, it would actually. And I don't think we spent much time thinking about it. We just let that sit there and ruminate. And then the next time we have a sit down with Bibble, with Nick even, and we're listening through these tracks that have been proposed whilst we've been doing the wedding band circuit and all that, he pipes up with, I've got a really good band name, actually. How about the HotOneTwo? I'm like, you bastard. So it came from...
You nicked your idea.
But I guess it's kind of a boxing reference, isn't it? Hit with a
a boxing reference in there, I guess. But the main thing is, we've never seen it anywhere else in the world. And, I think that's important.
It wasn't taken, so he went.
Yeah,
I think it's a cracking band name. There's no, I mean, right. and actually, sometimes you go like, we're in the interview with White Raven Down, and theirs is a very convoluted, deep, meaningful way of. You want to listen to it. It's a brilliant story, but it kind of goes. Whereas when you listen to people's music and you go like, really, I love it. I think it suits your music as well. So which is good. So, but yeah.
Good.
Next one, come on then, Trish. Keep them piling up. Let's go.
Okay. Blah blah blah. What are some of the challenges you faced as a band?
Faced or are going to face?
Oh,
well. Let's
It's
a journey, isn't it? It's a journey. What's your journey so far? What's the challenge? What's the biggest
challenges you faced on your journey?
Other than the band name being stolen by Nick. Other than that,
I think those early days and kind of the band member changes we went through were kind of tough. But fortunately, me, Nick, and Joe have kind of always kind of been there. And when we got Simon, our lead singer, what a sigh of relief that was for us. So we're now 2018, I want to say, and Simon coming along and taking that mantle as kind of that front man was a huge sigh of relief for us with how well he fitted in with the band, and he's got some pipes on him as well. And then Kev joining as the fifth member and the second guitarist after a bit of a turnstile of guitarists we went through, which was kind of tough as well. Kev joining and settling in really quickly has been, a huge relief as well, and almost like we kind of turned that corner now, and we've got those five, core members now that we need and that we want. So that's been a hardship.
I think from again going from a band from scratch as well, because we've been out of the original kind of music scene, the music circuit for so long, when we were just kind of in our own little bubble of doing weddings and corporate gigs and stuff like that. To re-immerse yourself in the the original rock scene or original music scene, again live music scene, I think the biggest challenge there is trying to get a foothold in a city that you've never played before, you've not got any following there at all, and finding venues that are willing to support you, or promoters that are willing to support you and be like, okay, we recognise that you guys haven't got any fans here, we'll have you in. There are some venues out there still that won't take a look at you if you can't guarantee X amount of heads through the door. But how do you ever, how are you ever able to start branching out to these venues if you can't guarantee these heads? So the good thing is these promoters do exist, these venues do exist that are like, we get that, we can help you. And
that's interesting you say that, because I know Nigel will probably go on the story when we went to see Hearts and Hand Grenades. Go on, I'll hand it over to you.
Well, I mean, it's just interesting that, and you have a conversation with Mike, who's been in that industry when he comes over. But he was telling me, because I said, why don't you ever, if you're there, because they are very good, Hearts and Anger. I mean, they are very, very, very good. And he knows he could headline an act. And I said, why can't you get on with the support crew, and or get onto support of a big tour? Don't you get asked? And he said, no, you have to buy it. You have to $20,000 to $20,000 to get onto a support slot, and they take a cut of your merc as well, which is just incredible. So you've almost got to buy your way. And but I was delighted to see White Raven Down got support with Skinred recently, which was amazing. So but yeah, so no, it's it is difficult, isn't it? And it's almost like snakes and ladders. I like the more I into it, you're on the bottom rank, Hearts and Hand Grenades and stuff. I mean, and White Raven Down. I mean, White Raven Down won debut album at the Rock Cafe Awards, and yet they're playing to anywhere between
50 people in like this
30,
gig.
40 people. And you almost have to build yourself up this rung
exactly
to kind of get there.
It's very tricky early days. I think now we're at a point where we're kind of on the other side of that now, and after this year, I think this is our busiest year in terms of shows, and I think we're managing to tick off the majority of the major cities and major areas in the UK in 1 year, which is amazing. I couldn't have ever, if you'd have shown me our gig list for this year 3-4 years ago when we first started out, I wouldn't have believed you. I would have said, no, that's bollocks, that's not going to happen. And we're in a really, really just an amazing position this year. And I don't think that we would have been able to get to this point if it weren't for, as I say, those certain venues and promoters that do, offer you these opportunities. Like in Norwich, for example, where we're doing our first headline show over there at the end of this month. And if it wouldn't have been for, I think it was Terry Nation over there, if it wouldn't have been for him, who just had us on, like, you guys, you haven't got any fans over here, but come and play. And then he gave us that opportunity, he gave us that platform. And then here we are 6 months later. So that's been the biggest challenge, and I think we're on the other side of it now. But there is hope for any band that's starting off.
It's just getting your music out there, isn't it? And you have to go through that process of doing the smaller gigs with whoever's going to be there, but then it'll be word of mouth and other platforms.
Right, Trish, before I take over, one more question from you before I delve
I have one
back.
more question.
Well, you can have more, but you can come back and do some more later on. This is for your
it's
first
okay.
question session.
Okay. Oh, man. Okay. So I know that you've got a new single coming out soon.
Yeah.
What is the story behind it?
Oh,
I'll let you take this one.
It's actually a really cool story. So our next single coming out real soon,
30th June.
thank you, is called Godforsaken Blues, and it's a dirty, bluesy, riffy track that has a solo after the first chorus that I love, and we wrote it all over COVID on webcams, and I actually quite enjoyed this lyric writing process that we had kind of amongst us, and it's written about an old blues guy called Robert Johnson out in America, and the story is he was just your average guy in this I don't know, city, village, town in America, disappeared for a week or two, came back an absolute wizard on the guitar, amazing singer, amazing blues player, and the story is he sold his soul to the devil on a crossroads in America, and we crafted a whole song around the story.
Wow.
And I really enjoyed him. I don't normally get involved in lyric writing. That's very much a Joe thing, an assignment thing, and we all throw our little 2 cents in. But I actually really enjoyed getting involved in this one, and there's a couple of lyrics in there that I really love, and it's kind of a short, snappy, like I said, dirty, bluesy rock song, and honestly it's one of my favorite tracks off the album, and one of my favorite singles that we're releasing, and also one of the favourite songs that we play live. I absolutely love it. It's
recently snuck its way into the live set, and it's not going.
I love it when it comes.
But the only reason he loves it as well, is just the pure self gratification of getting up on stage and I've got a solo, literally, a minute now. He's just there, front and centre, and he's just milking it, loving it.
Mate, with his looks, he's got to have something, hasn't he? He's got to have something. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's got to be. He's hot number 2. So the question here is did you guys meet at Guildford Music, or did you know each other before you went there, or did you meet there?
Yeah, good question. So myself and Nick, aka Bibble, we both grew up in a tiny little village in Cambridge together. We met when we were about 11 or 12 years. I would have been 12. He would have been about 14 or so, and we used to get on the same school bus together. I started playing drums when I was 12 years old. He picked up bass around 13, 14, so he'd been playing bass, but we were just he was a bedroom bassist, and I just had my little drum kit, sat up in my parents' conservatory, pissing them off, playing for 5-6 hours every evening. And yeah, Nick and I met very early days and played in multiple secondary school, sixth form bands together, and kind of grew up learning our instruments. And yeah, then we both decided to go to ACM because neither of us really wanted to do proper degrees. Not that a music degree isn't a proper degree, but let's be honest.
I use mine all the time.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're going into teaching, getting a bit of paper that says I can play the drums really well isn't really, all that useful if you're not going into, as I say, the tuition side of things. But so we decided to go to this music academy, ACM, with our chosen disciplines, and we met Manners there.
Yeah.
And part of the course at ACM, there's 2 or 3 classes a week where you do these performance classes where they take all the different musicians, the different disciplines, all the bassists, guitarists, vocalists, drummers. Even I didn't include drummers there because technically, I guess I'm not really a musician, playing myself down. They put them all in the same room. You all get given the same song to learn individually, and you come together and they make you all perform together. Even if you've never played together before, and you perform in front of your peers and everything.
Okay.
And I think a couple of times we ended up, so myself and Nick would end up luckily in the same band, and then Manners would end up in a couple of, we get put together in random groups and we'd end up playing together. Or what we'd do is in our own time, we'd go and rehearse the track that's been chosen for that week's live performance, and we would choose to play as a group. Even if we wouldn't end up playing on the day, at least we can all practice our parts together. Yeah. So, yeah, we started kind of playing together in that respect, only jamming like one song a week whilst we were studying at uni. And every now and again, we might get to perform together whilst we were there. But, yeah, that's pretty much the long and short of it.
And so
Guildford is actually only 20 minutes away from us.
Yeah, we're
is it?
Yeah, we're just down the road.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you know where he's then in
Yeah,
charge
well,
on top of the Wetherspoons and
Nathan, who's our marketing manager, he also has a music degree from Guildford as well. So we kind of know it. So
nice.
You don't mind me saying, but you don't look like rock and roll to the wall banging kind of guy. You don't really. You don't. So, was rock always in the blood? Was it always going to be when you were at the music and you think, I want to go and play in a band?
In teenage years.
Was your influence rock, or did you discover that later?
No, for me it was always rock. I think my first live show I went to Status Quo with my dad. I've been seen so many times. I heard this song in the car once, and I must have been like 9 or 10, and my dad turns around and was just like, a guy's called Slash, and I was just like, no way, you're joking. Anyway, I didn't really twig, and then I picked up guitar when I was maybe 10 or 11, and then I was hearing these songs. I heard Guns N' Roses, and I finally made the connection about 4 or 5 years later. Slash, that was the guy I was listening to in the car that I was bobbing my head to. That's why my dad turned to me and was like, Slash, do you like that? So rock and roll's always been kind of, my upbringing, from my dad, just going to shows, talking about it, and picking up guitar and, playing Smoke on the Water for the first time. That's how it goes. What about you?
For me, Britpop, Boyzone, Westlife.
No, hey! Funny you should mention that. That's exactly what I was thinking. But yeah.
No, I actually, for me, I was like it's a weird one. I was a bit of a skater kid back in the day. I was raised on like Green Day, Sum 41, Offspring, Linkin Park, and yeah, I think the turning point for me when I realised I wanted to learn drums was when Nick, again, as I say, we grew up in the same village together. He came down to mine with this AC/DC Live at Donington DVD. And we watched the whole thing together, and it was like, oh my God, Chris Slade, who I think he was on drums at the time, he had this ridiculous setup with 2 kick drums either side of him as well. And I was just like, yeah, no, I need to learn drums. I need to really like follow suit. And yeah, for me, it was ACD. After that, that's when I discovered AC/DC, Sabbath, started going down the classic rock route, pretty much bought every Iron Maiden album. At the point that was, I think Brave New World had just come out at that point as well, so I was a massive Maiden fan. So yeah, why not look at it? I used to have super long hair, but yeah, no, and I can't grow facial hair. I try every night. I sit down trying to grow a beard and I squeeze really hard, and I'm hoping for more hair to come out, but it doesn't. So I'm trying to look like I'm a rock star, but the fact is, Nigel, I'm not.
We don't really have tattoos. We don't really have tattoos and piercings either.
No piercings, no tattoos. Actually, on the topic of tattoos, sorry to flip this interview on its head. Again, Trish, tell me if I misread your message, but did I read correctly that are you getting like a different name using our logo font, or are you actually getting our name?
No, it's the font.
It's the font. Got it. Oh, okay, that's exactly how I read it, because I was like, no, this can't be the first person to get HotOneTwo tattoo.
Don't put it past her, guys. If she's interviewed you, she gets a tattoo of you.
I'm already booked in, Nigel. I'm having Coritney, HotOneTwo, and Soul Switched on the 13th of July.
I love it.
Yeah, so she will be getting a HotOneTwo because she's seen you live and she's interviewed you. If she's interviewed you, that's her thing.
That's my thing.
I love it.
Tattoo, so there we go.
I love it.
But yeah, so
Awesome.
and now you're going to have to get Hot number 4 on there as well. So just saying, Hot 4, but we won't say where. You can you can do that. So so you mentioned about writing songs. It's really interesting because you talked about the lyrics, and I find it kind of fascinating that, but so far the most people we've talked to write the music first and then the lyrics. How do you guys go about it? Is that the way you do it, or do you do it the other way around?
At the moment, yeah. We write the music. Well, I say we write the music. Our bassist Bibble He multi-instrumentalist, incredible recorder, does everything at home, and he pings us over, or maybe, you know, Joe might send him a riff on the guitar, or we might, you know, he might figure out a bass line, but he'll send over some pretty in-depth, incredible demos that then tend to branch into the songs, and then those demos are normally instrumental, and we'll write lyrics over them.
Yeah, it's typically always music first.
Having said that, we've been having a conversation about, you know, writing new music, and maybe we start, you know, with lyrics first this time. It's a conversation we've had like literally last week, and seeing what the writing process is like, writing lyrics first, and then, you know, putting guitar, bass, and drums to those lyrics.
I think experimenting is going to be like kind of really important, given that we ended up, through no choice of our own, having to write in a different manner over lockdown. We actually found a lot of the methods work for us. So if you don't know if it's going to work if you don't try it. So I think I think moving forward, let's go. We'll see what happens. Go lyrics.
We'll see what happens. You know,
like Manners would say as well. I would record little vocal. If I didn't have a guitar to hand, I would hum a riff and send it to Nick. Or maybe if a vocal line comes to mind, or a lyric, I could just record that and send it to Nick. And he is, like Manners was saying, Nick's the kind of guy that can take the smallest thing and just run with it, and it can just blossom and just explode into a whole song off of like a 4-bar like repeat. Like it's one of those. But we'll get experimental for album number 2 if album number 1 doesn't break us.
And have you you're touring, and I believe that you are lending your equipment to Soul Switch and to Heart and Hand Grenade for the tour rather than doing that one. So have you had a video meet with the guys? Have you met them?
Not yet. I think that's something that we will get booked in as soon as possible. We'll have like a little webcam party. We've got to make sure, obviously, we're lined up in terms of their time zones and everything. But yeah, no, that'll definitely be arranged. We'll send them all the bits over they need to know. I think they're using my drum kit. I kind of need to sort it out a little bit. That's something I need to do. I need to reskin it, make sure it gets a bit TLC, because or maybe I'll treat them to a whole new kit. I don't know. I've been needing a new drum kit for the last 15 years. We'll see what happens. It's an excuse to buy a new kit. So
you'll be rifling through eBay tonight now, won't you? And see what you can find. So and have you listened to their music at all? Have you listened to Hearts and Hand Grenades? Have you listened to Soul Switch? Have you,
I think on Spotify I listened to pretty much the entirety of Hearts and Hand Grenades. Well, again, I couldn't give you any song names because it's always on in the car and I can't see track listings when it's playing, but big fan, and I just hope that we can do them I'm sure we can do them just
as best as we can.
We'll warm up the crowd nicely.
Really looking forward to meeting them. We really can't wait for the tour, and
they're so lovely. So lovely.
So Nick, which do you prefer, Hearts and Hand Grenades or Soul Switch?
I prefer Hearts and Hand Grenades, but that's just me.
How about you, Joe?
I prefer not to answer that.
I can't believe Nick fell for it. I was like going, wow, you're brave. I was like, wow. So go for it. Good answer. Yeah, well, again, I had to go with Jimmy about not having, he's given it large about how easy he's written lots of music, and he still hasn't done an album. So he promised that he's going to do an album. So so when he says he never breaks a promise, so he's going to do an album. So there we go. So. And when they last on tour, it was very interesting because then White Raven Down and temporarily
Adam and the
Hellcats, they all did a kind of joint song on stage together.
Is that cool. Going to do mashup?
Oh, not discussed, but we'd love to do it.
Actually, I'm seeing John. I'm seeing Johnny be good. Do you know what I mean? That would be a really good mashup. Would be your style of music between the three of you. That could be pretty exceptional.
I'm sure we can orchestrate something. Let's we'll put that as a point on the agenda when we have our call with them.
Yeah.
and tell him it was my idea. I love it. There we go.
God,
just saying. I didn't get where I am today.
You and Steph.
Credit where credit's due.
Absolutely right. So, which on the tour, is there a particular venue you, apart from Bournemouth, of course, because we'll be there? Is there any particular gig that you're looking forward to most?
I want to do Cardiff is Fuel, isn't it?
Cardiff Fuel Club, yeah.
Are you going to Cardiff?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, we'll see you there.
Yeah.
So the thing is that the only reason I really want to go back there is because the last time I went to that venue was in a completely different capacity. It was a stag do, and we stumbled across this place, and it was like, this is incredible. This is awesome. There wasn't a live band playing that. It was just like a rock and metal DJ.
Yeah,
and I was like, I wonder if these guys do live music. Yeah. And then we saw the gig listing come in. It was like, oh, that's the place we went to on the stag do. So I'm looking forward to that. And obviously, like, the Welsh crowd are just nuts.
Yeah.
From what we've heard, we played one show in Wales so far. So that was in Crumlin, and that was awesome. So if Crumlin's anything to go by,
are you doing all of the tour dates with Hearts and Hand Grenades? Because I know it's sort of split a bit, isn't it?
Split a little bit with us and a band called Mighty Ball and the Company are also on the support slot, which is a funny story because Joe used to live with Mikey Ball at ACM. So
wow.
Which is a small world. And we just shared a stage with them at Call of the Wild as well.
Yeah.
Small world. I'm looking forward to getting back to Manchester and playing the Rebellion.
Yeah.
But also Leicester as well is kind of ground that we've not really headed over towards. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's really just up the road from you, isn't it? So
yeah, it is. Yeah.
So Trish, question number 4 for Hot 4. Let's be having it back to you for your finale of a session.
Okay, my finale question is: what do you hope people take away from your music?
Well, he's banging against the wall.
It's just going to be manners in his head. He's just answered that saying, "Well, my dashing, good-looking charisma."
Do you know what? That's not come across at all, Joe. I'm surprised you say that.
No, you're not charismatic at all.
What do you hope that people take away?
I'd love people to go away with kind of a sense of energy, firstly, and also, a song in their head. You want people to be going away with a track that's in their head.
Yeah.
I have one.
That's a riff.
Neon.
Yeah, Neon. Oh, that's an old one.
Do you know what? If you like Neon, that's the thing. Neon. So the Godforsaken Blues we were talking about is quite similar. It's got a very similar vibe to Neon. Okay. So if you like Neon, you'll like Godforsaken Blues. Yeah. But no, Neon. Going away with the song in your head. I think I want to see us again. Again, for them to come away just going, holy shit. Let's do that again, kind of thing. You know when you get off, like, as a kid, your first ever roller coaster,
and you want to go back on again.
Again. That's that's what I'd want from a fan. To see us for the first time, to be like, yeah, let's do that again. Yeah. Go on.
And maybe a T-shirt. That'd be cool.
Oh, thank you. I was about to go say, how about a bloody T-shirt, guys? How about that? How about buying something Merc? All these sentiments are crap, but you need the money in your bank to pay for your tour.
Yeah.
So
buy art merch. Absolutely.
For your new drum kit. So okay. So I'm pleased don't ever do it. Don't ever do this, but I will ask the question. I hate covers on an album. I hate them.
Yeah.
Okay. I listen to an album because unless it's at the bottom, it's going bonus track. So it's purely out a bonus track. I always mark my album ratings down because I want to listen to new music. However, if you had to do a bonus track on your album of a cover, Nick, let's start with you. What would be the one song that you would love to cover? So
we've spoken about cover track. We used to do a couple of covers in our live shows when we were playing back at the Rock Den in Hatfield and stuff. However, we did one in Cambridge. And we did a Bee Gees track. We did "Stayin' Alive."
That went down.
That was heavy.
Yeah.
That was like down. That was. I love playing it, and it's so. If you're going to do a cover, you've got to make it so different from the original.
Thank you. Absolutely. If you do something completely different with it, I mentioned "Sound of Silence," which is probably the one of the greatest cover because it was so different from the original. Then actually just don't do like Fozzy did one of Relax.
Relax.
It was just I could just listen to Relax. It's
just listen to Relax. Yeah.
It's the same, really, but basically, yeah. Well, how about you then, Joe? So staying
I'm
alive.
I'll disappoint you with my answer because he actually stole the song I was going to say. But do you know what?
Is this Boyzone, isn't it? Is that...
Yeah, it was going to be No Matter What. No, it would, again, like you were just saying, you want to do a song and reinvent it, or not reinvent it, but play it in a different genre just to get the wow factor. Like, oh yeah, I never thought of playing that song in that way. But I think if I was going to play a cover, I would just want to do it justice and play it as you'd want to hear it, and I think this is the exception to the rule. Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas, but I just, really heavy it up a little bit more, only because that's probably my favourite cover to play live when we did play in a wedding band. We had that a couple of times, and it really kind of separated itself from Valerie and Superstition and all the others. Like that comes up, you're like, oh, okay, this will be a fun one.
Do that again. Do that again. What interests me when I'm talking to like White Raven Down and stuff as well these days, there seem to be kind of a family men. They've got wives, they've got kids, but you guys are obviously a younger generation. But do you have families? Do you have kids?
So I have a dog.
No need to talk about Nick like that, okay? It's not fair. All right, stop it.
He's done yet, mate. He's done yet. So no, the only family man in the band is actually Kev. He's got two little boys. Kev Baker, and funnily enough, I teach them drums as well. So every now and again, I go over there and we give them drum lessons. But yeah, he's the family man. Everyone else, we're all coupled off. Yeah. I guess you probably don't want that to be common knowledge that you're getting married soon, because that's going to take you off the market and all your swarms of female fans.
No, Trish is going to change her tattoo. She's going to it's going to be Hot 2 3 4 now, number 1. Yeah. God.
But no, we're all well, I think we're getting to that age now as well. Everyone's going to be getting married soon.
Yeah, but we've got great support.
How old are you? I'm guessing like mid-20s to 30s.
I'll take that any day of the week.
Trish, you're way too kind. We're all about early 30s.
Yeah. Really?
Oh, okay.
You don't, genuinely, I'm not just saying you don't look it, but then I don't look 57.
I've got this filter on the webcam.
Yeah.
Absolutely not, Nige.
Yeah, thank you.
But no, we're all early 30s. We've got good support, from all our partners, our families, and
that's because they want you to be successful.
Absolutely. But we want to bring them along, for the ride and the fun as well.
You're putting the hard work in.
Kev brought the boys and his wife, and it was a fantastic time for all of us. And that he gets to do that and that we get to do that is a real privilege. We're all enjoying it as much as we can.
Yeah,
we're enjoying your music.
I think the days of sex, drugs, rock and roll are kind of gone faded, because like the longevity of bands, you need stability. In fact, bizarrely, I was listening to an interview with Ronnie Sullivan, the snooker player, and it was a one show tonight, and he was basically saying about really pretty much he lost 7 years of his life through really just wasting it, and now it's about being in the moment and enjoying the moment, and your music should be a big enough adrenaline rush to kind of get you.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, like you said, none of us have kind of, or like I said, none of us have tattoos and piercings, but it's what's up on the stage and the music that's out there, and if you want to, does that take away from the fact that we don't get me wrong, we love a drink. We'll have a drink with all of you. But does the sex, drugs and rock and roll, is that part of what people want to listen to and want to see? Maybe it is. And there's bands out there now that are still doing that and partying hard. And I think, but we leave it on the stage.
I think we could party hard.
Maybe we.
I think we could party hard.
After.
After. And you know what will be the real test? Let's see what happens on this tour with Hearts.
Yeah. Maybe you'll catch up with us, and I might be dragging Joe out.
What date is Cardiff? Just quickly check Cardiff and see where that is in the string of 6. Wow. If that's like halfway through Trish and you see us then, and I'm not a well man, you'll know why. I've tried to be a rock star and failed.
It's really interesting, isn't it? How we do like a little song contest, and somebody said to me that you're all voting for these songs. We all put a song in anonymously, we vote for it, and he said, "So you're all telling me that that this is the winning song, is a great song, and my ears are telling me something completely different. I can't understand why this song is won." And it's really interesting because I liken to the Fontaines, DC. We watched them in Victoria a couple of years ago, and they were awful. He was stoned out of his head. The whole band, they were awful. I thought they were the worst band I've seen live in a long time. And the guy who came after him went, "Oh my God, these guys are amazing." I'll go like, "Well, what gig did I watch?" And now suddenly they're winning awards at the Brit Awards, and I'm going like, "Am I hearing something entirely different?" Because I'm going like, but maybe people like that. I don't know. It's just like, but.
Do you know what? It might not sound very rock and roll, but I'm going to share you guys in a little bit of insight. We have implemented a 2-pint maximum rule before we get on stage. So we can be as sharp as we possibly can be. Because this one here at a Christmas show about 5 years ago,
that was my fault.
That's the reason we got that wrong. So you learned the hard way. And the experience you had with, how's it pronounced? Is it Fontaines DC?
Yeah, Fontaines.
Yeah, the experience you had.
They're an Irish punk rock band. And...
Yeah, I've heard a couple of their tracks. But the experience you had, it would have been similar at that HotOneTwo show that one year. So yeah, we have... no more than 2 pints before we play.
Well, there is a balance between being relaxed, because do you guys get nervous? Do you get nervous when you go on the stage?
Yeah, if you're not getting nervous before you go on any stage, there's something wrong. It means you don't care.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. Like, nerves means you care. And if you start getting complacent, the next gig I play, if I don't, there's something wrong, as I say. Yeah, and I think that's what you feed off as well. I'm just as nervous playing in front of 5 people in a tiny little venue in Cambridge as I would be playing in front of like 2,000-3,000 people. So yeah, I don't know if it's the same for you.
Yeah.
No, you don't care.
I mean, but you just kind of. Well, now if I say, "Oh no, I don't really," I don't get too nervous.
He'll play this interview back for you, Nick. But,
I mean, don't get us wrong. I think what it is, maybe I'm mistaking nerves for excitement as well.
Yeah,
you can have both.
Nervous energy. Most of it is nervous energy. It's about channeling that energy.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. I wouldn't say it's nerves like, "Oh, I hope I don't get the set wrong. I hope I don't make any mistakes." It's more nerves like, "Oh man, I really hope they like us."
That's every day for me at Games Quest.
Yeah.
So. A would you ever question? Okay, so I saw Steel Panther, the power metal band, go on to America's Got Talent. I don't know if you saw that.
This happened. Yeah,
they did. So, would you ever go on Britain's Got Talent?
Shut up.
I don't think we would. No, I don't think we would.
Don't do it to yourself.
No,
Nick's tempted. He's tempted, isn't he? Why, Joe? Why that reaction? Is that something that he's muted before?
Do I? For the credibility of the band?
To you, man. It's up to you.
I had a spell on Britain's Got Talent over 10 years ago. Actually, I'm not going to tell you.
Who you did?
And I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to say what band. I'm just going to say I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. We got to the semi-final, like the live TV finals. Now you're going to have to do some digging.
No!
I don't want it to tarnish.
I'm not having that. I'm not having that.
Familiar.
You've got it.
Let me explain.
I have uncovered a flipping goddamn brilliant exclusive here. I've unveiled. You now have to reveal all, or if you don't, I'm going to find the clip and I'll put it onto all my channels.
The thing is, I don't want it to tarnish the band, the HotOneTwo, and it won't, because they're completely separate to what we do now. It's just, it was a joke that went too far. And yeah, like, we didn't intend to get on into the semi-finals or anything. But yeah, wouldn't do it now. But as a young, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed 17, 18-year-old that's, got this opportunity to go on TV. So yeah, it was 13 years ago.
Working the years out here, Nigel. How far back 13, you need to go to
13 years.
So what was that? Britain's Got Talent, was that 2010 then, or 2011? So.
No, I thought they were pretty good. They had some good arrangements, actually. It was good fun.
So what
was the name of the band?
again, as I say, you're going to have to do some digging
Nick,
now.
spill the beans, Nick. Spill the beans. Nick, if you spill the beans, you're officially hot one.
Oh, Nigel, have a look.
Hot one.
I've already said it. There you go.
He did actually give you a subtle
I've already said it.
So when you
You're going to play it back.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And this is why you do off-the-cuff questions here, guys. So, how about that? What a swarmer.
I love that that's come out because that's been an in-band thing for so long.
Classic.
I think even Kev only found out like maybe a year into being in the band. It was just like, oh yeah, you know John's on Britain's Got Talent. Everyone was like, no. So
great question, Nigel.
Yeah, well
Great
done.
question.
Well played.
Didn't get where I am today. And, sorry, love that. So I have a little phrase at work saying I go from CJ.
Didn't get where I am today.
From Reginald Perrin. If you've never watched Reginald Perrin and his CJ with his big cigar, goes, I didn't get where I am today. Whenever he does something right. So there we go. There we are. Fantastic.
Right.
Well, how about that then? So banners up at Bournemouth saying cheering on Britain's Got Talent semi-finalists. So we'll have to do that. Get the T-shirt and all of that. Wow. And genuinely, I just saw Steel Panthers on Britain's Got Talent. I wonder if any one of our mic rock bands would ever do that. And I thought I'd ask that question.
Oh, the irony. Oh, the irony.
Because I sent you the link, didn't I, Trish? So I sent you the link. So,
yeah, you did.
Well, how fantastic. Well, listen, guys, it has been an absolute joy to hear your journey and hopefully to continue to be part of that journey. So thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
And super excited to see you. Really looking forward to hearing that. I love Dirty Blues Rock. So I'm definitely looking forward to that as well. Super looking forward to your album. Looking forward to now reviewing that album and seeing if you manage. White Raven Down did get into our Hall of Fame. So if you want to ever watch our rock show, if you get over, if it's 5 of us that vote, if you get more than an average of 4, you get into our Hall of Fame. So who knows? Let's find out later in the year, shall we? But what I've heard so far, very excited to hear it. Very excited.
Of course, nice.
So good luck with the tour. Look forward to seeing you and meeting you for one of your 2 beers down in Bournemouth. So we'll be partaking with your 2 beers. And good luck for the tour. Good luck with meeting the gang. I think you're going to be a fantastic success.
You're going to have a blast.
Keep on rocking as well. And thank you very much, guys. Take care.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks so much.
All the best now. Bye for now.